Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and surprise surprise we're here with another showcase of SFO Grimhammer's newest patch, the Strom of Chaos, which is going to drop on the 27th of January, so not too long if you're watching this prior to its release. We're almost done with all the Game 1 races, then we'll be moving on to Game 2, and we're going to finish off today with the Vampire Counts, a fairly popular faction, mostly because of Vlad and Isabella, but there's a few changes that come into effect for pretty much all the factions, which I think you guys are going to like, so let's not waste any more time and jump right in. As with all these other videos, we're going to be starting off with the faction and lord effects, and firstly we've got Manfred here, and his faction effects are as follows. Manfred is able to collect the Books of Nagash while on his journey for necromantic lore. This is obviously a new thing that happened because of Immortal Empire's release. Gains access to unique building in Drakenhof, which doubles the effects of his collected Books of Nagash. Starts with 1 Blood Kiss. Diplomatic relations plus 25 with vampiric factions and with the followers of Nagash. Attribute causes terror for Graveguard, Black Knights, and White Kings. No recruitment cost for Graveguard and Black Knight units, and finally a unique unit of Drakenhof Guard. Next, with the Lord effects, we've got Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity plus 15. Vampiric Corruption plus 10 in local province. Upkeep minus 20% for Graveguard and Black Knight units in Lord's army. And finally, the ability of Master of the Black Arts. Next we have Heinrich Kemmler, and his faction effects are as follows. Special landmarks generate dark insight and unlock powerful technologies. These can be found in Carcassonne, Nagash Azar, Black Pyramid, the White Tower of Hoeth, Quintex, Nagarond, and Nangao. So you're going to have to travel a bit if you want this new resource. Diplomatic relations plus 50 with Warriors of Chaos, Demons of Chaos, Beastmen, and Norska. Experience gain plus 25% for Necromancer heroes. Immune to Chaos Undivided Corruption and Chaos Waste Attrition. Raise dead cost minus 20%. And finally, a unique unit known as the Spectres of Corpsewood. Little throwback to a older edition. When we go into the Lord effects, we have the following. Enables replenishment in foreign territory. Winds of Magic cost minus 10% for Lore of Vampires. Weapon strength plus 25% for Skeletal Warriors and Skeletal Spearmen units in Lord's army. And finally, the ability Lord of Undeath. We've got Vlad von Carstein next with the following faction effects. Starts with 1 Blood Kiss. Access to a unique building in Castle Drakenhof and technologies after taking Altdorf. Income from Vampire Crypts, Vampire Keeps, and Blood Tax buildings plus 50%. Starts with Isabella von Carstein as a legendary hero. Zombies, Crypt Ghouls, Skeletons, Graveguard, Black Knights, Spirit Hosts, Kern Wraiths, Hex Wraiths, Felbats, and Direwolves have 25% chance to be resurrected when below 50% health. Unique units, Knights of the Red Death, Special Aura, decreasing enemy units, speed, and leadership. And finally, for the Lord effects, we have the following. Base healing cap plus 50% when in an army with Isabella von Carstein. Upkeep minus 40% for Blood Knight units in Lord's army. Attribute Siege Attacker. Keep in mind that a lot of the legendary lords have lost the Siege Attacker trait that was added in randomly by Creative Assembly on a patch. And finally, all units in Vlad von Carstein's army receive Vanguard deployment. Moving on to Isabella von Carstein, now we have the following faction effects. Starts with 1 Blood Kiss. Access to a unique building in Castle Drakenhof and technologies after taking Altdorf. Starts with Vlad von Carstein as a legendary hero. Direbat units are summoned in every battle. Upkeep minus 75% for Felbats and Direwolves units own armies faction-wide in own territory. Unique unit, Knights of the Red Death, Special Aura, increasing own units damage and leadership. When you start looking towards the Lord effects, we have the following. Base healing cap plus 50% when in an army with Vlad von Carstein. Speed plus 25% for Felbats and Direwolf units. Melee attack plus 10 for embedded vampire heroes in Lord's army. And finally, melee defense plus 5 for embedded vampire heroes in own army. And finally we have Helman Gorst, who's not a joke anymore, which is actually kind of nice because, let's be honest, a lot of people kind of hated Helman Gorst. I'm one of those people, but CA kind of fixed him a little bit by moving him and making him a bit more unique, which is great. But anyways, faction effects. Has an extended technology tree. Bound spell, lesser raise dead for corpse cart and mortis engine units. Raise dead pool capacity plus 4 for zombie units, own provinces. Casualty replenishment rate plus 10%. Enables poison attacks for zombies, skeletal spearmen, Spearmen and Skeletal Warrior units. Unit capacity +1 of the type. This is a Regiment of Renown. Now, when we move on to the Lord effects, we have the following. Immune to Plague Attrition for Lord's Army. Attribute immune to contact effects for Lord's Army. And Armor +30 for zombies and Crypt Ghoul units in Lord's Army. You're going to be dealing with Korgath Plague Father very, very quickly. Alright, we're going to jump into some changes. So, this is rights, and these are something that were available in Warhammer 2 SFO, but only for Manfred. Now these are available for all the other factions, and I don't feel like I need to explain rights too much, but if you haven't played Warhammer 2 races, they have a system of powerful bonuses that they can use for currency for a certain amount of time, and then there's a bit of a cooldown. Here you can see that the vampire counts, their currency here is blood kisses. In most cases with these campaigns, you will get a lot of blood kisses by assassinating other characters or killing legendary lords and stuff. So with the excess, now you can use it for this. Get some extra growth faction-wide, or a lot of research rate. It depends on what you actually want, but there's a lot of things that you can play around with, and I think that system is going to be quite good. To be honest, this actually should be a thing for the vampires in general. You're going to have access to a brand new tab in your technology tab. This is just focused on some extra stuff, you know, some extra bonuses. Sometimes it's focused on desert stuff like immune to desert attrition, or extra diplomatic relations with other vampire factions, including Vampire Coast ones, which is a little bit of a throwback to the whole, you know, Niklaus von Karstein deciding I'm not going to play this game anymore and I'm going to form my own faction. I'm referring to Count Noctilus, by the way. But yeah, I like this system. I think it's kind of cool. Now, other races will have more. So, say, for example, Vlad and Isabella get access to a bunch of new techs when they get Altdorf. So you'll need to pick up Altdorf, which won't really take too long to get to. As soon as you've solidified yourself in Sylvania, you can start making your armies move up to Altdorf. But you've got loads of bonuses here. Some of them are tied to if you get one, you can't really get the other, and I kind of like that system because at the end of the day, you don't want to be too powerful, and there's a lot of money that you have to drop there, you know, 10,000 for these techs. It's going to take a while, but the idea is, you know, Vlad's actually doing the Vampire Wars again, you know, second time's the charm. There were actually 3 other Vampire Wars, but Vlad only took part in 1. Ghost is going to actually have access to a little bit of extra tech here, and I actually kind of like this because you're going to have to wait a while till you actually get this, as you're going to have to get loads of other tech prior. But the idea is just making Ghost a bit more unique, making the zombies a little bit stronger, Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Horrors, as those are going to be your mainstay if you're going for a bit of a theme. And overall, yeah, it's kind of nice. I like Ghost a lot more now since he's been moved and actually not made so utterly useless. So the idea of him getting a little bit more flavor just to make him stand out a little bit more, I'm all for. Like, yeah, I'm still not wanting this to happen ever again with DLC, like no more nobodies, but yeah. Anyways, when we start moving on to Heinrich, yeah, he's also got some unique tech. And this is all focused about getting some special resource. This resource itself, you'll need to go to those landmarks that we spoke about before. Don't worry that in-game you will also see the trigger which says where you need to go. And hold it for a while. Here there's a lot of different tech just to kind of make him a little bit cooler. Just some general bonuses here and there just to make you stronger, which is obviously what's expected because you're going to be on your own. You're not going to be teaming up with other vampire counts. You're really more public enemy number 1 to a lot of factions. So you're going to have access to a new unique building chain known as the Blood Tax, and this is actually pretty cool because it's a very nice way of implementing lore. So the Blood Tax is something that is very well known with vampire leaders who own settlements and towns and stuff, mostly living people. You'll get income because you're basically getting souls, but the growth of your provinces and the provinces around are basically going a little bit lower because, well, you know, people are being eaten. I love the idea, and as you get stronger and stronger, like, you get some pretty good things. The great thing is it doubles its income, it reduces the construction costs for stuff. You even get a decent amount of control too, which is great for public order reasons, so all in all, pretty good building. Now you're probably wondering about the pseudo-legendary lords, and you actually get a lot more benefits now for spending your blood kisses. The general bonuses that you'll get for your faction-wide are just really, really good now. I'm showcasing them all. Keep in mind that the Blood Dragon one has a bit of a visual issue. I think this is something that's also in vanilla, where it's just pulsing. But yeah, you even get, like, say, for example, plus 25% research rate, lots of bonuses to diplomatic relations if you go with Lemian. It all depends on your general playstyle, which one you like the most. I tend to go for the Lemians at the beginning and then start going on to the Necrarch, or maybe the Strigoi. It also does depend really on the player. But yeah, there's a lot of options, and I think that's a really, really good thing. They're definitely a lot more worth it now. It's a bit of a weird thing because some of these models look great, not including the Necrarch and the Lemian, which are just very poor reskins. This is an official thing, but the others just look great, and it's something that I wish we would see more. Anyways, Manfred, the human man-child, well, vampiric man-child, does get a lot more bonuses when it comes to the books and Nagash, just in general, a lot better, so it gives you more of a reason to actually go hunting for them. Personally, I don't like Manfred, but then again, who does? Nobody does. I do like him in a gameplay perspective, more of a lore perspective. It's a bit less. But yeah, generally a lot better benefits, which is going to make his campaign a little bit more bearable. Anyways, we've got a bunch of unique units, the first being the Black Rail Knights, which are a Blood Knight unit, so, you know, legendary unit, they've got perfect vigor, area of attacks, regeneration, all in all pretty good stats. They look cool too. Obviously a nice little throwback to the whole Dark Omen game, which, you know, it's always nice to play on the nostalgia bit because it's Warhammer. It's 40 years of lore this year. There's a lot to actually take inspiration from, and god, do I feel old. But yeah, overall cool unit, and the idea is, like, if you're focusing on cavalry-based armies, you kind of want this around with you. I don't really go for a lot of cavalry units, but that's just me. Next, we're going to look at Blood Dragon Warriors, and yeah, you know, the name says it, these are Blood Dragons on foot, which is obviously cool, because Creative Assembly are kind of scared of putting knights on foot for some reason. But yeah, anti-infantry, area attacks, support unit, their regeneration. These are going to be like your high-tier units. They're also decently fast. I mean, 60 speed is nothing to sniff at. Yeah, I mean, it's a vampiric-based unit that's going to be able to just hold the line. Obviously, keep in mind that they're going to take a lot of fire damage if something targets them with fire, but that's a problem for another day. Knights of the Red Death are Blood Knights on Hellsteeds, so yeah, very similar to how you would normally use Blood Knights, but they can fly now. Anti-large, area of attacks, regeneration, very good stats all around. 110 speed, it's going to zoom across the battlefield as it's flying around, and then you'll be able to strike at any large targets without too much of a problem, which, of course, this is something that you kind of want anyway. And yeah, this is something that I'm kind of expecting to see in Old World in the future, because they actually do get mentioned in lore fairly often, this type of unit. So, yeah, you never know. The next unit is not much to talk about, in all honesty, because it's a zombie dragon. Yes, this should be part of their roster anyway, but yeah, if you've used dragons before, which Creative Assembly like using dragons, and Imric is fairly popular, then you know what to use them with, so yeah. Let's move on. Next we have the Spirit Hosts, a unit that I really love on the tabletop. Like, I have an ungodly amount of Spirit Hosts. So, ethereal units, they're a support unit, they've got special auras and so on. The idea is, this is your tar pit. I know, a lot of people are going to be saying, yeah, but zombies are your tar pit and so on. But I find these to be a really good tar pit. And yeah, I mean, their extra support abilities, their auras and so on, they are going to be fairly good. The idea is, bring a few if you can, to be honest. I absolutely love them. And you know, it's kind of weird, but every time I look at a mod which does something for vampire counts, I'm then reminded that we don't actually have Spirit Hosts officially just yet, which is kind of sad. Anyways, we're going to move on to the Spectres of Corpsewood. So these are special type of Hex Wraiths. They've got sword and board, and these are available only to Heinrich. I think they look pretty cool, actually. It's a nice little throwback to the whole, when Heinrich used to be original, in a sense. Way back in the lore, way back in the lore. But let's not dwell on that too much because, yeah, I don't like feeling old too much. But yeah, you know, an ethereal unit that causes terror is a Master Ambusher. 95 speed is also really good. I think that these are actually really powerful, and yeah, they're just fun to use. And lastly, we have the Drakenhof Guard. These are Grave Guard with halberds, and they look freaking cool. I love the shield. These are exclusive to Manfred, which, sad. But it's a little bit of a throwback to the end time, so probably better served with just Manfred alone. I like these, I really do. I really like the design. It's a great thing. I really like the shield. The shield is probably what makes it for me, because it makes it feel like a bulwark, and I think that's really important. Stat-wise, it's pretty good anyway, so you've got that there. Anyways, with all that being said, the vampires are in a decent place. Yes, they still need a proper rework by Creative Assembly, some new mechanics that can't really be made by modders and stuff. But all in all, I think that they're in a okay place, especially with the changes that have come into effect with SFO. All the laws are different. That's really much a given. Well, barring Vlad and Isabella, but they are the same faction essentially. But I feel like the vampires are in a very good place. I will be starting a Helm and Ghost playthrough soon, just to have a little bit of fun, as, yeah, I feel like I'm really bad on Helm and Ghost. Anyways, with that being said, what do you guys think about SFO's changes to the vampire counts? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion, as the SFO team will be checking out these videos for feedback from the player base. For those wondering, I am feeling a little bit better from my fever, so I should be back up and normal by hopefully tomorrow or the next day. Well, we'll see. But have a great day, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.